Welcome back, folks. Sheepdog Smokey here, and I'm seeing a lot of comments by people who don't seem to understand you have to listen to an entire statement to understand what it exactly means. Today we had reports that President Trump signed an executive order suspending the federal payroll tax until the end of the year, retroactive until August 1st. Now, today being August 7th, that means it is retroactive until a week from yesterday, or from tomorrow. That's not going to be a huge factor of this, so I'm going to ignore the retroactive part. But most people see anywhere from a 10 to 15% payroll tax that make under $100,000. Okay, I'm well under that. Otherwise, I wouldn't have to worry about trying to set up a YouTube channel. But let's say you make $40,000 a year, and 10% of your check, $4,000 a year, goes to federal income tax. Now, that's not the only tax you pay. There is a Social Security tax, there are other taxes, there are state taxes. You're not going to see your entire tax burden gone. You're not. You're only going to see the federal payroll tax gone. So 10% of your check. Now, if you make $40,000 a year and you are taxed 10% on federal payroll tax, that is $4,000 a year. Little under, I don't even know. I mean, 4,000 divided by 12, it's a little under $400 a month. It's not a lot of money. But it is more than you have been receiving all year. At this point, it is a deferment. It is a suspension, not a forgiveness of the federal payroll tax from 1 August 2020 to 31 December 2020. Now, Donald Trump did state, should he be reelected, he will forgive this tax burden. Meaning, come April 15th, you are taxed from 1 January 2020 to 31 July 2020, and that's it. It will quite literally be as if the last 5 months of the year do not exist to the federal income tax. You will still be told, how much did you make in this time? How much were you taxed in this time? Here is your tax burden. How much did you pay? Here is your bill, or here is your refund. This is an extremely strategic move by Donald Trump. Simply put, we've had Congress arguing for pretty much forever about how to help people during this lockdown. We all remember the stimulus check from last year. We all remember the people crowing, well, if you don't want socialism, send your check back. Well, the problem is, a lot of people who don't agree with socialism were running on empty. These are people who are in states like California, New York, Washington, Oregon, where their governors have locked the state down. They're destroying the economy. There are no jobs. So you're worried about how you're going to put food on the table. Being where I am, I was blessed that my job was able to continue, but my parents aren't as financially secure as they'd like to be. I literally used my stimulus check, all but about $20 of it, which went into my gas tank, to help them. And they needed it. It was that simple. But what people don't want to admit is that your federal income tax is not going to welfare, is not going to or not going to Medicare or Social Security. You see, those are actual lines on your check. I'm looking at mine right now. There are 3 income tax issues, or lines: federal, old age, and Medicare. Pardon me. You see, if you look at your check, you'll see a federal line under taxes. You'll see OASDI, this is Old Age Survivors and Death Incentives. I don't know the exact acronym, but that's Social Security and Medicare. Those are separated out specifically because on paper, that money is supposed to go only to Medicare or Social Security. Now, for years, morons in office have said, well, we can borrow from those funds and we'll pay it back, and they never do. That has nothing to do with the payroll tax being cut. looking at what I would receive, it's not a huge amount. I don't need that cut. Personally, I'm going to assume that I'll have to pay it, meaning that amount, and I can calculate the exact percent. It is a very simple amount, or calculation. I know what my pre-tax and post-tax deductions are. None of my taxes are pre-tax, of course, but I have a few of the others, and they're labeled. So I take my gross income minus my pre-tax deductions. And then if you want to know what percent of this is this, that is my gross income times X equals my federal tax. All you have to do then is divide both sides by the gross income. If you take what I paid divided by what I was paid, you will get a percent. I'm not a math major, I'm not a math nerd, but I do remember those formulas. It's that simple. So I can figure that out, and I can put that money into a savings account. Here's the other part, and this is something that, I've said many times on social media. You are free to send any amount of money above or and beyond your tax burden to the Federal Reserve and mark it as a tax payment. All you have to do is contact the IRS and find out how to submit a manual tax payment. Then you can use that gross income times X equals your federal taxes. And you can figure out the percent and the amount, and you can send that money in. And here's the best part. If that tax holiday from 1 August to 31 December of 2020 is made permanent, is forgiven, you get your money back. And you're free to keep it or send it to the government. It's amazing when imbeciles like Michael Moore or any of that ilk scream about tax cuts only benefiting the ultra-wealthy. Well, they're all in that bracket. Michael Moore has made millions upon millions of dollars spreading his lies and propaganda. Yet he keeps every dime he can. Leonardo DiCaprio, who lives a life of lavish luxury, private boats, private planes, massive mansion, all that, screams at us to downsize and live in shacks without electricity while he lives the life of a royal. He's free to send any amount of money he wants to the federal government and say this is a tax payment, and I don't want it back. But they never will. They don't care about the actual issue. They care about control. This is going to be a major point between now and November 3rd. Okay, Donald Trump is going to continually say, if you vote for me and I am reelected, this federal income tax abatement will be made permanent and forgiven. You will never have to pay this money back. This is going to be while the Democrats are saying, oh, you'll have to pay it back. It's not permanent, while they're ignoring that Donald Trump is saying, I will forgive this. I will make it permanent. You will not have to pay it back. He's doing this for two reasons. One, Americans need relief. They need help. And this, in some minimal way, will help. The Democrats have been saying they want to help Americans, but they never will. They wanted $800 a week for unemployment bump. The Republicans wanted to do $200. I don't agree with that. I think it should have been left where it was and just extended. Donald Trump said, fine, we'll meet in the middle. It's $400. He's doing exactly what on TV the Democrats talk about. He's just not doing everything they demand behind the closed doors of the House of Representatives and the Senate. They're trying to pack in pork to fund groups that have nothing to do with COVID-19. They want to fund abortion. They want to fund all these other projects in a stimulus bill. They're trying to violate the Hyde Amendment that says the federal government cannot directly fund abortion. And it is moronic that more people don't see this. It amazes me that more people don't see this. And it amazes me that more people don't have the common sense to say, I don't have to spend that extra money. I can put it in a savings account and maybe let it earn a little interest and let it sit until April 15th. And if I'm then told I must pay it back, I have the money right there. Or if I'm told I don't have to pay it back, I have the money to decide, do I want to pay it back anyway, or do I want to keep it? It's that simple, folks. It is a matter of simple logic, simple thought. We live in a world where people honestly say, as the president works to cut taxes, I can now see why the American Revolution happened. Well, snowflakes, I hold a degree in history, specifically American history, with a focus on teaching secondary, that being high school, social sciences. The American Revolution started for two basic reasons above all others. One, high taxes, not low. You see, King George was taxing the colonies as heavily as he could to fund building his coffers back up after having fought a war in Europe. So money was flowing out of the colonies and they were getting nothing in return. When they complained, the British Army was sent to occupy the colonies and disarm the colonists. Quite literally, the Democrat platform of raise taxes, disarm people. But they don't know this because they've been, stupid bugs, get out of here. They've been indoctrinated for so many years to actually believe that it is wrong to lower taxes. It is wrong to exercise constitutional rights. It's only allowable to obey the government. All of that could not be further from the truth. Now, I will be the first to admit, we have a lot of people in the House and the Senate who have an R by their names who are not conservative. They are not Republicans in the sense of what I consider Republican. And if you want to know what I consider Republican, look at Ronald Reagan. Okay? That is Republican to me. Small government, low taxes, keep out of my life as much as humanly possible. Unfortunately, 1988, we had a rhino that won, promised everything under the sun, went back on his promises, and we got Clinton for 8 years. During that 8 years, the military was hamstrung, and all but handcuffed. Taxes went up, government grew and expanded to proportions where you had very little privacy, and it's only gotten worse. George W. Bush, I voted for him over Al Gore. I voted for him over Kerry. I voted for McCain, and I voted for Romney over Obama. Not so much that I loved their stance, but I knew who Obama was. And I felt with a Republican Congress that those who were very close to being Republican might be able to do some good. I happily voted for the outsider, non-politician Trump, and I will do it again this year. And Congress, the swamp monsters themselves, cannot stand that a man that they praised and that they begged for money for all these years has turned on them and is actually working to serve the American people over special interests. It's a simple fact. If there is a 5% cut in tax, that means those who pay more actual dollars will see more actual dollars stay in their bank account. If I earn $100,000 a year and you earn $10,000 a year, 5% is very simple. 500 for you, 5,000 for me. It's the same percent. It is not, I got a bigger tax cut. No, I got more dollars off because I pay more dollars in. That's the simple fact. And that people ignore this basic math shows exactly why we are in the trouble we're in. Simple logic is no longer ignored. It's even not allowed in some places. I've actually had people report me as harassing them or threatening them for saying things like, open your eyes, clean out your brain, get a calculator, and do the math. Meanwhile, liberals are able to hurl death threats at people, and nothing happens. I saw one today in a thread I was on. Idiot hurled a death threat. I'm not going to repeat it. I'm not going to say who it was about. I have reported it to the proper authorities. I honestly expect YouTube to do absolutely nothing about it, because the idiot who now realizes he committed a federal crime is probably going to delete it. YouTube will say that my screenshot of it, even though my comment back says I have a screenshot, proving I took one right then, well, that can't be proven. And they'll protect the moron who broke the law. But when I tell someone to grow a brain and learn to use it, I'm treated as if I just chopped off their arm and beat them with the wet end. It's a double standard. It is indoctrination that leads to this double standard, and it needs to stop. Donald Trump flat out said, I am going to cut your taxes. And if reelected, I will make that cut permanent. So that from August 1 until December 31, this specific tax, not all taxes, this one line, will no longer be valid. And that reelect me, and you will not have to pay it back. And morons in the media and imbeciles that believe them start screaming that it's a horrible thing. It's a good thing. But I fully expect states like California or New York to raise their state taxes at a commensurate rate, so that whatever people would have seen in a cut from federal taxes is negated. It happened when the first tax went through. California said, well, you're not paying this in federal taxes. You can pay it to us. And then morons said, look, Californians aren't getting any relief. And it's because of Newsom's government it happened. Cuomo is ranting and raving that the wealthy are leaving New York in droves. As he mocks them, I fully expect him to institute an exit tax. And these idiots actually believe this is right, and they have a right to steal from you. And morons who've been indoctrinated for 20 plus years agree with them. Grow a brain and learn to use it if you don't have one. Except that simple logic states that Donald Trump did not do anything horrific or wrong. He stated very simply and correctly, Americans are suffering. This will help them. By the way, if I'm still president next year, I'll have the ability, and I will do this, I will forgive this tax. Enough said. He said, I'm going to do this now, but I can't make it permanent, so you don't have to pay it back, unless I'm president next year. So reelect me, and I'll make sure that you don't have to pay it back. And the left screams, and their sycophants agree. It is a sad state of events, folks. It is. And I really don't care how often I am attacked, harassed, lied about, and more. Because, one, if someone actually tries to do something physical against me, I'll stop them. If it's words online, I will mock the imbecilic little twit, because they are just an imbecilic little twit. If you want to have an actual debate, you want to actually discuss things, do so in a civil manner. I say it at the end of all my videos. I will not get vulgar. But if someone starts hurling crap at me, I'm going to send it right back at them. And I'm going to do it with a smile on my face. Because I know the more I send their crap back, the angrier and angrier and angrier they get, and the more they are likely to either just go away or finally do something that breaks the law, and then, well, maybe they get to be a guest at a federal penitentiary, or at least a local jail. For me, I walk away from it. They hurl their crap across the fence, I hurl it right back. That's the only thing I'm going to do. You come at me logically, civilly, with well-reasoned points, and you discuss, dissent, and debate, and I will be happy to do so. I enjoy that. Just stay civil. Please remember to like and share the video. The likes help influence the algorithm. The shares help grow the channel. Make sure you're subscribed so that, like this video, that are videos that are off schedule, you'll be aware of all of them as they post. I did post a comment yesterday that at present, due to an ISP that cannot reliably provide the service I pay for, I'm being put back into my office, albeit with very few people there. I cannot quit my job, so I will have to abide by my company's rules, and I will keep doing my job. It's that simple. But due to that, I'm not going to have the time that I've had at home during the day to read as much as I have been. Okay? I don't take a lot of personal stuff to work. I used to, and I've brought it all home. My desk from here out is just for work. Okay? About the only personal item I'll have on the desk, this, and whatever I eat for lunch. Or maybe a snack. That's it. So I will still be doing the research, but I may not have a History Channel video or History Series video for a couple of weeks, just because I am going to have to be getting back into the routine of work. And being that I'm at the office, I'll have the ability to do things people outside the office can't. So it is going to be an adjustment. I am still making them, but as my full-time job comes first, this comes second. Please make sure you are subscribed with notifications on so that when I am able to post, you'll know when it happens. Until next time, have a wonderful day.